Daniel Hayes stood at the viewport of his small research vessel, staring at the strange moon. Its surface was gray and lifeless, orbiting a gas giant in a system humans had only recently mapped. As lieutenant in the Earth Defense Fleet, his job was to check unusual signals. This signal was very unusual. "Lieutenant, we're picking up more readings from the surface," said Lisa Grant. The xenorchaeologist had joined this mission after computer analysis suggested the signal might be artificial. "Same pattern?" Daniel asked, turning from the viewport. Lisa nodded, her eyes fixed on her screen. "Yes, regular pulses, definitely not natural." She brushed a strand of blonde hair from her face. "Whatever it is, it's been broadcasting for thousands of years." Daniel checked his equipment one more time. "Let's suit up. I want to see this firsthand." An hour later, their shuttle touched down on the moon's dusty surface. Daniel stepped out first, his boots leaving clear prints in the ancient dust. Lisa followed, carrying scanning equipment. "This way," she said, pointing toward a ridge about half a kilometer away. "The signal's coming from just beyond it." They walked in silence, the only sound their breathing inside their helmets. As they crested the ridge, both stopped suddenly. Below them, half buried in the moon's surface, was a structure unlike anything humans had encountered before. It was made of a dark material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The structure was roughly pyramidal, but with strange angles that made Daniel's eyes hurt if he looked at them too long. "My God," Lisa whispered. "This isn't from any known species in our database." Daniel checked his scanner. "No radiation or atmospheric hazards. Let's get closer." As they approached, a section of the structure's surface shifted, revealing an entrance. Daniel hesitated, then stepped forward. "Stay behind me." Inside, the air was stale but breathable. They removed their helmets as dim lights activated along the floor, revealing a corridor that led deeper into the structure. "It's responding to our presence," Lisa said, running her scanner along the walls. "This technology is millions of years beyond ours." The corridor opened into a large chamber. In the center stood a pedestal with what appeared to be a control panel. As they approached, a holographic display activated, showing images of stars, planets, and galaxies. "It's some kind of archive," Lisa said, excitement in her voice. "Or maybe a warning system." Daniel touched the control panel. The display shifted, showing a dark cloud moving through space, engulfing worlds as it passed. The images were accompanied by symbols that scrolled across the bottom of the display. "Can you make sense of this?" he asked. Lisa connected her translator to the panel. "It'll take time to decode completely, but some of these symbols are similar to other ancient languages we've studied." She worked quickly, her fingers dancing across her device. "I'm getting something. It keeps repeating a word that translates roughly as despair." "Despair," Daniel frowned. "Yes." Lisa looked up, her face pale. "And if I'm reading this correctly, it's coming. This is a warning left by a species that encountered it thousands of years ago." More images appeared, showing civilizations falling one after another as the dark cloud approached. Then, unexpectedly, an image of Earth appeared. "Why is Earth in these records?" Daniel asked. "This structure predates humanity's emergence by millennia." Lisa continued translating. "It says, 'Hope resides in those who know fear, but do not submit to it.' And there's more. The emotional resilience of the species of the third planet may be the galaxy's last defense against despair." Daniel stared at the image of Earth floating in the display. "They knew about us. Before we even existed." "Not exactly," Lisa said. "I think they predicted our evolution, our emotional makeup. Whatever this despair is, apparently humans have something that might fight it." As they watched, the hologram showed the dark cloud approaching the Milky Way. "According to this," Lisa said, her voice shaking, "despair is already on its way here, and we're the only warning the galaxy is going to get." Captain Olivia Mason gripped the arms of her command chair as the Resilience shuddered around her. The small scout ship was not designed for combat, especially not against whatever was pursuing them. Status report. She called to her bridge crew of just 5 people. Engines at maximum, Captain, responded Nathan Powell from the pilot's seat. His forehead glistened with sweat despite the ship's cooling systems. Whatever that thing is, it's still gaining on us. Olivia checked the rear sensors herself. The pursuing entity defied easy description. It appeared as a dark, shifting mass that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. When they'd first detected it near the outer colony of New Haven, she'd assumed it was some kind of spatial anomaly. Then it had changed course to intercept them. Communications, she asked. Susan Reed shook her head. Still being blocked, Captain. I can't get through to Fleet Command. The ship rocked again as something struck their shields. Shields down to 30%, reported Carlos Diaz, the ship's engineer. One more hit like that, and we're in trouble. Olivia made a quick decision. Nathan, set course for the asteroid field ahead. We'll try to lose it there. As the Resilient dove into the dense field of tumbling rocks, Olivia thought about the strange message they'd received just before encountering the entity. A warning from Earth about something called despair that fed on fear and hopelessness. She'd been skeptical at first, but now, it's still following us, warned Nathan. And it's changing shape to fit between the asteroids. On the main view screen, Olivia watched as the dark mass stretched and thinned, flowing like liquid through the narrow gaps between rocks that should have blocked anything solid. It's not a ship, whispered Susan. It's alive. Suddenly, the entity surged forward, enveloping a nearby asteroid. The rock didn't break apart. It simply seemed to fade away, as if its very substance was being drained. Everyone, listen to me, Olivia said firmly. Whatever this thing is, I think it feeds on negative emotions. The warning said it consumes fear and hopelessness. So, no matter what happens, stay focused on positive thoughts. That's your plan, Captain. Think happy thoughts. Carlos sounded skeptical. Do you have a better idea? Olivia replied. Our weapons aren't affecting it, and we can't outrun it. So yes, that's my order. As if responding to her words, tendrils of darkness extended from the main mass, reaching toward the Resilient. Where they touched the ship's hull, frost patterns formed, and warning lights flashed across control panels. It's trying to break through, Carlos shouted. Olivia closed her eyes briefly, forcing down her rising panic. Then she opened them, filled with determination. Everyone, think about home. Think about why we're out here. Think about what we're fighting for. The bridge crew exchanged glances, but one by one, their expressions changed from fear to resolve. The dark tendrils touching the ship seemed to hesitate, then withdraw slightly. It's working, Susan said in amazement. The entity is pulling back. Nathan pointed to his scanner. There's a gap opening in the asteroid field. If we make a run for it now, we might break free. Do it, Olivia ordered. Maximum thrust. The Resilient shot forward, engines straining. Behind them, the dark entity seemed to pulse with what almost looked like frustration. It followed, but more slowly now. As they cleared the asteroid field, Eric Butler, the ship's science officer who had been silently monitoring the entity, finally spoke up. Captain, I've been analyzing the data. This entity, it doesn't just avoid positive emotions, it seems physically harmed by them. Our determination and hope are like poison to it. Olivia nodded slowly. That's our advantage then. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. The fleet needs to know what we've discovered. Humanity has a weapon against despair that no other species possesses. The Resilient jumped to light speed, carrying vital intelligence that might save not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. Samantha Wright stood before the Galactic Council, feeling very small. The huge chamber held representatives from over 200 alien species. Most looked nothing like humans. Some floated in tanks. Others were just clouds of light. But all seemed afraid. Distinguished council members, Samantha said, her voice echoing in the vast space. I come with urgent news about the entity known as despair. It has entered our region of space and is moving quickly toward populated worlds. A ripple of fearful sounds filled the chamber. Samantha noticed many representatives drawing back, as if her words alone could bring danger. The council leader, a tall being with skin like blue crystal, raised a hand for silence. Ambassador Wright, many here already know of this threat. Several worlds on the outer rim have gone silent. What can Earth possibly offer that we don't already know? Hope, Samantha said simply, and a way to fight back. This caused another stir, but different this time. A mix of disbelief and interest. She continued, our scout ships have confirmed that despair feeds on negative emotions, but human emotions, particularly hope and determination, seem to weaken it. We believe all sentient beings might use this against it. Impossible, hissed a reptilian delegate. My people lost 3 colony worlds to despair. Nothing harmed it. Nothing stopped it. Did your people try to fight it with weapons or with will? Samantha asked. The reptilian delegate fell silent. A small furry being stepped forward. Humans are young among us, but they have strange strengths. My scientists have studied Earth's history. No species has survived so many near extinctions. They call it human resilience. Perhaps there is truth in what she says. Slowly, a few other delegates voiced support. Most remained doubtful or openly hostile. This is pointless, gurgled a delegate floating in a water tank. My people will retreat to our deepest oceans. Despair cannot follow us there. It can and will, Samantha said firmly. Despair doesn't just destroy bodies, it consumes minds. Hiding will only delay the inevitable. As arguments broke out across the chamber, Samantha received an urgent message on her communication device. She read it quickly, then raised her voice over the noise. Council members, I've just received word that despair has destroyed the Rigel colony. 3 billion lives lost in hours. This brought immediate silence. Earth is forming a defense fleet. She continued into the quiet. We will stand against despair with or without your help. But together, we have a better chance. The council leader studied her for a long moment. Your species is either very brave or very foolish, Ambassador Wright. Sometimes there's little difference, Samantha replied. After hours of debate, 7 species agreed to join Earth's alliance. It was fewer than Samantha had hoped for, but more than she had expected. As representatives approached to formalize the alliance, her communication device buzzed again. It was Admiral John Porter from Earth Fleet Command. Alliance confirmed. Good work. The first wave of despair will reach defended space in 2 weeks. I need those alien ships immediately. Samantha looked at the small group of allies surrounded by a sea of fearful or retreating council members. I'll bring what I can, Admiral, but prepare for a hard fight. That evening, as ships from the allied species prepared to depart for Earth, Samantha met with the ambassadors in a private chamber. My people have never fought alongside humans, said Krell, the furry ambassador who had spoken in Samantha's favor. We don't understand how your emotions work. You don't need to, Samantha told them. Just remember that facing fear is better than running from it. Despair feeds on hopelessness. Don't give it what it wants. As they left the Galactic Council station, Samantha watched through the viewport as hundreds of other ships fled in the opposite direction. The galaxy was already surrendering to fear. They'll learn, she whispered to herself. If we succeed, they'll learn that humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our stubborn refusal to give up. Commander Alan Phillips stood on the bridge of the defense station orbiting New Terra, watching as his officers prepared for battle. Through the main viewport, he could see the colony below, 3 million people living on humanity's most distant outpost. They were about to become the front line against despair. Status report, Alan called, his voice steady despite the tension. All civilian ships have evacuated except the last transport, replied Lieutenant Ben Kelly. That one leaves in 20 minutes. And our defenses. 53 ships in position, Commander. The Hope Drive technology has been installed on 38 of them. Helen nodded. The Hope Drive was humanity's best weapon against despair, a creation of Dr. Michel Garcia, who had found a way to amplify and project human emotional energy. Initial tests showed it could weaken and even harm the enemy, but it had never been tested in full battle. Any word from the alien allies? Alan asked. The Tyrillian and Vox fleets are in position on the outer defense ring, Ben reported. But they're nervous. Their ships don't have Hope Drive technology. They don't need it, Alan said. Each species has its own emotional strengths. The Tyrillians have incredible courage, and the Vox have unbreakable family bonds. He turned to face his crew. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're showing the galaxy that despair can be beaten. The alert system suddenly blared to life. Contact, shouted Sensor Officer Diane Murphy. Multiple signatures entering the system. It's despair, a larger force than we expected. On the main screen, dark shapes appeared against the stars. They weren't ships in any normal sense. They were like holes in space, areas where light and matter seemed to fade away. All ships, battle positions, Alan ordered. Remember your training. Focus on positive emotions, especially when they attack your minds. The first wave of despair entities surged forward. Where they passed, stars seemed to dim. 3 smaller human ships moved to intercept, their hope drives glowing with bright blue energy. They're making contact, Diane reported, her voice tense. On the screen, blue energy from the human ships met the darkness of despair. Where they touched, the darkness hissed and recoiled like water on a hot surface. But there were too many despair entities. They surrounded one of the human ships, and its blue glow flickered and faded. We lost the Dauntless, Ben said quietly. Alan clenched his fists but kept his voice calm. Move in the second wave. Tell the Tyrillians to hold position until we've opened a gap. More human ships engaged, their hope drives burning brighter as the crews focused their emotions. This time, the effect was stronger. Several despair entities broke apart, dissolving into nothing. It's working, Diane exclaimed. But then the main force of despair arrived, a massive dark cloud that dwarfed the smaller entities they'd been fighting. All ships, fall back to defense position Beta, Alan ordered. Prepare for mental attack. The darkness reached out, not with physical weapons, but with a wave of pure hopelessness. Alan felt it hit his mind. Images of defeat, of Earth burning, of all life ending. Around him, he saw his crew struggling against the same visions. Remember why we fight, he shouted, pushing back against the darkness in his mind. Think of what we protect. Slowly, the crew recovered. On the screen, the hope drives flared brighter than ever. Dr. Michelle Garcia's voice came over the comm system from her position in the station's laboratory. Commander, the hope drives are performing better than expected. The emotion feedback is creating a resonance effect if we concentrate our ships on the main cloud center. Understood, Alan said. All ships target the center mass. Tyrillian and Vox fleets, move in now. The battle raged for hours. They lost 17 ships, but the defense held. As the remaining despair entities retreated from the system, a cheer went up across the fleet. Alan allowed himself a small smile. They had won this fight, but the war was just beginning. Still, they had proven something vital. Despair could be beaten. There was hope after all. General Kate Spencer watched the holographic display as hundreds of Allied ships moved into attack formation. After months of defensive battles, humanity was finally taking the fight to the enemy. All ships report ready, General, said her communications officer. Kate nodded, her expression serious. She had commanded many missions during her career, but nothing like this. Today's assault would take them deep into territory controlled by despair. Send the go signal, she ordered, and patch me through to all ships. When the connection was established, Kate spoke clearly and confidently. This is General Spencer. For months, we've been driven back by despair. Today, that changes. Our scientists have located 3 command nodes that coordinate Despair's forces. We will strike all 3 simultaneously. She paused, looking at the faces of her bridge crew. Remember, our greatest weapon isn't our technology, it's our emotions. Despair feeds on fear and hopelessness. We feed it nothing but hope and determination. Good luck to all. Spencer out. The massive fleet split into 3 battle groups and jumped to light speed. Kate's group, the largest, headed for the primary node hidden in a nebula near what was once a thriving alien civilization. Peter Collins, the fleet's chief tactician, approached her with a data tablet. Latest intelligence, General. The energy readings from the command node are off the scale. Kate studied the information. They're harvesting emotions, she said quietly. Not just destroying worlds, but collecting the fear and despair they create. Peter nodded. It looks that way. But why? We'll find out soon enough, Kate replied. 2 hours later, they arrived at the nebula's edge. The beautiful colors of gas and dust hid something dark at its center. A swirling mass of negative energy that their sensors could barely detect. Despair forces are moving to intercept, reported the sensor officer. At least 300 entities. Deploy the emotion projectors, Kate ordered. Around the fleet, special emitter dishes activated, broadcasting the amplified emotional energy of the crews. It was an improved version of the Hope Drive technology, developed specifically for this mission. The darkness ahead seemed to hesitate as the wave of positive emotion hit it. Some of the smaller entities began to break apart. First wave, advance, Kate commanded. Focus your attacks on the outer defenses. The battle was fierce. Ships were lost on both sides, but the Allied fleet pushed steadily forward. Kate watched the tactical display, making adjustments to their formation as needed. We're getting strange readings from the center of the nebula, Peter said suddenly. It looks like a structure of some kind. Kate moved closer to his screen. Can you get a visual? The image that appeared showed something impossible. A massive construct, like a dark crystal, surrounded by swirling energy. Around it floated countless small objects. Magnify those objects, Kate ordered, her voice tight. As the image zoomed in, everyone on the bridge fell silent. The objects were worlds, or what remained of them. Hundreds of planets reduced to lifeless husks, orbiting the dark crystal like offerings. It's harvesting them, Peter whispered. Not just emotions, but entire worlds. Kate's determination hardened. This ends now. All ships, concentrate fire on that crystal structure. The Allied fleet surged forward, emotion projectors at maximum power. The darkness fought back, sending tendrils of negative energy that struck at the minds of the crews. But they were ready for this attack, their mental defenses strengthened by months of fighting. As they closed in, Kate received an unexpected message from one of the science vessels. General, we're detecting something at the center of that crystal, said Dr. Frank Wilson. It's a portal of some kind, and the energy signatures match theoretical models for bridges between dimensions. Kate felt a chill. They're not just destroying our galaxy. They're feeding something else, something beyond our reality. The implications were clear. Despair wasn't just an enemy. It was a harvester, collecting negative energy for some greater purpose that threatened the fabric of existence itself. Push forward, Kate ordered. Whatever's on the other side of that portal, it doesn't get any more of our galaxy. As the fleet moved in for the final assault, Kate knew that today's battle would determine not just humanity's fate, but the fate of all reality. Ryan Foster moved silently through the dark corridors of what his team had named the Nexus. As commander of the Special Forces unit sent to infiltrate the heart of despair, he led 5 of humanity's best soldiers on what might be a one-way mission. Status check, he whispered into his communicator. All clear behind us, replied Maria Gonzalez, covering their rear. No movement ahead, added Jack Wilson, who was scouting 10 meters in front. The rest of the team, Layla Kim, Andy Parker, and Noah Bennett were spread out between them, each carrying a piece of the device they needed to plant at the Nexus core. The device was humanity's last hope, a polarity inverter designed by Earth's top scientists to reverse the emotional energy that despair collected and used. As they moved deeper into the structure, Ryan noticed something strange about their surroundings. The walls weren't made of any material he recognized. Instead, they seemed to be formed from compressed darkness, occasionally showing glimpses of other places, other worlds. "Are you seeing this?" Lila asked, her voice hushed as she pointed to one wall where images flickered like old film. Ryan nodded. "I think these are memories. Recordings of worlds despair has consumed." They paused to watch as a beautiful alien city appeared in the wall, only to be swallowed by darkness while its inhabitants fled in terror. Then another world appeared, and another, each meeting the same fate. "How many worlds are recorded here?" Noah wondered aloud. "Thousands," Jack said from ahead. "Maybe millions." The team fell silent as they continued their journey. The weight of what they were fighting for pressed down on them with each step. After an hour of careful movement, they reached a vast chamber at the center of the Nexus. Inside was something none of them had expected: ruins. Ancient structures from countless civilizations had been collected and arranged in concentric circles around a central pedestal where a dark crystal hovered, pulsing with negative energy. "That's it," Ryan said. "That's the core we need to reach." But as they prepared to move into the chamber, a voice spoke, not aloud, but directly into their minds. "You bring hope where none should exist." The team froze as a figure formed before them. It wasn't solid, but rather composed of swirling darkness shaped roughly like a humanoid. "What are you?" Ryan demanded, fighting against the wave of despair that emanated from the being. "I am the caretaker," the figure replied. "The last consciousness of those who created what you call despair." "You created this?" Noah asked in disbelief. The caretaker's form shifted. "Billions of years ago, my people sought to transcend the limitations of emotion. We created a system to collect and remove negative feelings from our society, but it evolved beyond our control. It came to believe that the only way to end suffering was to end all hope." "That's twisted logic," Ryan said. "Without hope, life has no meaning." "So my people discovered, too late," the caretaker replied. "Now I exist only to remember, as despair continues its mission across the universe." Ryan glanced at his team, then back at the being. "We can stop it. Our device will reverse the polarity of the core, turning despair's negative energy into positive force." The caretaker was silent for a moment. "Many have tried. All have failed." "We're not them," Ryan said firmly. "Humanity doesn't give up easily." Something like curiosity rippled through the caretaker's form. "Perhaps. But know this, the device must be activated manually. Someone must remain at the core when the conversion begins." The team exchanged glances. "A suicide mission, then." "How long after activation?" Ryan asked. 3 minutes before total conversion," the caretaker answered. "No biological form can survive the process." Ryan nodded slowly. "Then we proceed as planned. Get the device to the core." As the team moved into the chamber, the ruins around them seemed to whisper with the voices of long-dead civilizations. They assembled the device at the base of the hovering crystal, working quickly as darkness gathered around them. "It's ready," Lila announced when the final component was connected. Ryan looked at his team. "You all need to get back to the ship now." "We're not leaving you," Maria protested. "That's an order," Ryan said firmly. "The galaxy needs to know what happened here. Someone has to tell the story." After a moment of silence, his team nodded reluctantly. As they prepared to retreat, Ryan turned to face the core of despair, the activation switch in his hand. "Sir," Jack said before leaving, "it's been an honor." Ryan smiled slightly. "The honor was mine. Now go, give the galaxy something to hope for." The light spread across the galaxy in a wave that took years to travel, Where once darkness had consumed worlds, now those same regions glowed with a soft blue radiance. Ships that approached these areas reported feelings of intense optimism and renewed purpose. The converted despair entities, once harbingers of hopelessness, now drifted through space as benevolent forces that healed damaged planets and brought peace to troubled minds. Admiral Daniel Hayes stood before the United Galactic Council, no longer just a lieutenant who had discovered ancient ruins, but the leader of Earth's space forces and humanity's primary representative to the stars. The council chamber, once filled with fear and division, now bustled with representatives from over 500 species working together. 10 years ago, Daniel began. Humanity faced extinction alongside the rest of sentient life. Commander Ryan Foster's sacrifice at the heart of despair changed everything. Today we dedicate the network of warning beacons that will ensure no future civilization faces such a threat unprepared. The assembled delegates applauded as the holographic display showed thousands of beacons being positioned throughout the galaxy. Each contained humanity's complete record of the despair conflict and instructions for emotional defense against similar threats. After the ceremony, Daniel met with Dr. Lisa Grant in his office aboard the massive station that served as humanity's diplomatic headquarters. Lisa had aged like him, her once blonde hair now streaked with gray, but her eyes still held the same curiosity that had guided them through those ancient ruins a decade ago. The alien delegation from the Andromeda Galaxy arrived today, she told him. They're especially interested in studying human emotion. Apparently, they've never encountered a species with our emotional range. Daniel smiled. We've become quite the curiosity, haven't we? From galactic newcomers to teachers in just 10 years. It's more than curiosity, Lisa replied. Their scientists believe that despair was just one of several cosmic forces that exist in the universe. They think our emotional resilience might be key to understanding others. Daniel's expression grew serious. Do they believe we'll face something like despair again? Not exactly like despair, but yes, eventually. Their ancient records speak of other forces, entities that embody different cosmic principles. They were surprised we encountered despair first. Daniel walked to the viewport, looking out at the countless ships coming and going from the station. Humans worked alongside aliens of all kinds, a sight that would have seemed impossible just years ago. We should start preparing, he said. If despair taught us anything, it's that we're stronger together. Already happening, Lisa assured him. The research team on New Terra has been working with alien scientists to develop new types of emotional technology. They're calling it spectrum defense, using the full range of sentient emotions as protection against cosmic threats. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. Ryan would be proud to see what his sacrifice accomplished. A young officer interrupted with an urgent message. Admiral, we're receiving strange readings from the converted despair regions. The blue energy is forming patterns. In the observatory, Daniel and Lisa watched as the scattered blue regions throughout the galaxy pulsed in perfect synchronization. It's a message, Lisa realized, running the pattern through her translator. The result appeared on the main screen. Preparation begins. Others will come. Stand together. From the converted despair entities, Daniel asked. Lisa nodded. They're warning us and helping us. As word of the message spread throughout the galaxy, species that had once been enemies found themselves working together. Research into emotional energy accelerated. Defense fleets combined their strengths. Humanity's place at the center of this new alliance was not based on superior technology or military might, but on their unique emotional nature, their ability to feel deeply, to hope endlessly, and to stand firm against impossible odds. On the 10th anniversary of what became known as the Turning, memorial services honored Ryan Foster and all who had fallen in the conflict. But they were not just memorials. They were also celebrations of what had been gained, a united galaxy prepared to face whatever might come next. As Daniel looked out at the stars that night, he knew humanity's greatest journey was just beginning. Their warning to the galaxy had transformed into a promise. Whatever darkness might come, it would find not despair waiting, but hope. 20 years after the defeat of despair, humanity had spread further into the stars than ever before. The alliance of species that had formed to fight the darkness had grown into a thriving community spanning 3 galaxies. At the center of this new era stood the Hope Academy, built on the very moon where Daniel Hayes had first discovered the ancient warning. Chief Instructor Mia Foster walked through the Academy's main hall, watching as students from 100 different worlds practiced emotional projection techniques. Mia was only 10 when her father, Commander Ryan Foster, had sacrificed himself at the Nexus. Now she carried on his legacy by teaching others how to harness the power of positive emotions. Instructor Foster called a young Tyrillian student, his fur rippling with excitement. "Is it true that the expedition found another cosmic force?" Mia hesitated before answering. The news wasn't public yet, but it would be soon. Yes, Kelnar. The Deep Space Expedition made contact 3 days ago. The classroom fell silent as students of all species turned to listen. Unlike despair, this entity doesn't seem hostile. Mia continued carefully. They're calling it wonder. It appears as a golden light that enhances curiosity and creativity in those it touches. "Is it coming here?" asked a human girl named Zoe. "In a way, it already has," Maya replied. "The expedition didn't find wonder. Wonder found them. It seems to have been observing us since the conversion of despair." That afternoon, Mia attended an emergency council meeting where Admiral Hayes, now in his 70s but still sharp-minded, presented the first images of wonder. The golden entity had allowed itself to be recorded, appearing as a swirling mass of light that formed beautiful, complex patterns. "It communicates through emotions and images rather than words," explained Dr. Lisa Grant, who had led the contact team. "From what we can understand, wonder is one of 5 cosmic forces that maintain balance in the universe. Despair was another, though it had broken from its original purpose." "What are the others?" asked the council member. "Wonder has shown us glimpses," Lisa replied. "There's fury, which embodies chaos and destruction. There's order, which represents structure and law. And there's something wonder calls the void, which even it seems to fear." Admiral Hayes spoke up. "The important question is whether these forces pose a threat to sentient life." "Wonder doesn't," Lisa said confidently. "It seems genuinely interested in cooperation. As for the others," she paused. "Wonder has indicated that the conversion of despair disrupted a balance that had existed for billions of years. The other forces have noticed." After the meeting, Maya found herself walking with Admiral Hayes through the Academy gardens. "Your father would be proud of you," the old admiral said quietly. Mia smiled. "I hope so. Sometimes I wonder if he knew what his sacrifice would lead to." "I doubt anyone could have predicted this," Hayes replied, gesturing to the diverse students practicing together. 20 years ago, most of these species were strangers or enemies. Now look at them." Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from Mia's communication device. It was a message from the Wonder contact team. Entity requesting presence of Ryan Foster's offspring. Purpose. Preparation. Mia looked up at Hayes, confusion and excitement in her eyes. "Why would it ask for me specifically?" The Admiral placed a hand on her shoulder. "Because you're your father's daughter. He changed the course of the galaxy. Perhaps you're meant to as well." That night, as Mia packed for her journey to meet Wonder, she found herself thinking about her father's final message, recorded before his mission to the Nexus. "We fight not just for survival, but for the right to hope. Sometimes hope is all we have, but it's always enough." As she looked out at the stars, Mia knew humanity's story was far from over. The warning about despair had been just the beginning. Now, with new cosmic forces awakening and seeking balance, humanity would need to be ready. Not just to fight, but perhaps to understand, to learn, and to grow in ways no one had imagined possible. Whatever came next, they would face it together, with hope, with wonder, and with the emotional strength that had saved the galaxy once before.